This is our brain. It's who we are, our identity. If there is a soul, it's probably in there. And because we are the most important things to ourselves, honestly, I guess that makes this the most important organ in our body. So it's important to understand what it's made out of, what it reflects about ourselves. The good news is we have a lot more control in shaping it than we think we do. So let's dive into it. Scientists have been studying our brains for decades trying to figure it out. In the old days, they believed in localization. It's the idea that our brain is made up of parts, like a machine is, and that each of these parts performs a specific mental function and exists in a genetically hardwired location. But that wasn't so true. Yeah, when we're born, there are general locations for where different things happen. But as we live on, our brains can be very adaptable and opportunistic. Now, what do I mean by that? When people are born blind or lose their sight from some tragedy, this part of their brains don't just shut down or sit there collecting dust like an unattended machine. Instead, over time, neural synapses for their hearing and touching abilities take over that space, giving them superpower ability to hear and braille read. That's also why blind people are so much more likely to have perfect pitch ability. Now this has somehow made things double the tragic for some people. There was this blind woman and she had a stroke, and as a result she lost her visual cortex, or rather the part that for most of us that aren't blind is dedicated to vision. But if you believe in localization, she shouldn't have lost anything. Instead, after the stroke, she couldn't hear or braille read up to the level that she could before. The good news is, there was still hope for her to regain those abilities up to a certain level. Because as we said, our brains are adaptable and opportunistic. Look at it this way. Our brain is real estate, and the neural connections we make are its residents. Think of them as people, and people need to work to afford their homes, right? And also to sustain themselves and grow their children and multiply. On the other hand, if they don't do anything, they're just gonna starve out. And if a house stays empty, the neighboring residents who are thriving and multiplying are gonna find out and want to make themselves comfortable in that bigger space. And our brain will allow that. This is what I mean by that it is an opportunistic and ungodly merciless ground. There is a constant war in our brains for space between all these different things that our brains do, and hence we do. If we stop doing something, we don't just forget it. The space for that skill gets turned over for another that we do. But we know this intuitively. Whenever we ask how often we should practice basketball, math, or the piano to stay on top of it, we are concerning ourselves with the resident plan of our brain real estate. We like to think that our brain is an infinite bucket, and our challenge is to throw as much into it as we can. But in reality, it's a space already packed to its brim with those that reflect our lifestyles and habits. And life is less about just throwing things into it, and more about replacing undesirable neural connections with more meaningful ones. And the end result? Our brains are direct reflections of the lives that we lead, as much as they might be to genetics. Brain scans reveal that musicians have larger auditory cortices than others, and London cab drivers have a larger back part of their hippocampus, which is for memory and spatial maps. And there's some truth to memes like this. So the question is, what does your brain look like? The good news is, you're not stuck with the brain you have right now, as long as you know what you need to learn and change your brain even as an adult. And you can check this video out for more on that.